We're back to an important question being how happy. Now, if you're like most people worldwide who have responded to this little scale by researchers over the past 25 years, you said, I'm about a 7, thereabouts. Now, y'all are very optimistic. You might have boosted up a little. But most people across all cultures say they're about a 7. And the reason is because they're not quite over yet some of the bad stuff that has happened, or some great stuff they're wishing would happen hadn't happened yet. Why are you holding yourself back if you weren't off the graph? Well, it's because I want to wait till I get that next big contract. I want to wait until this next diagnosis comes through clean for me, my medical checkup. I'm holding back until something good goes on. Well, you know what? Even if you won the lottery, $130 million, you know what would happen? Research of lottery winners, they go off the graph for about 12 months. You know what happens then? They settle in at a 7.5, the typical lottery winner. If something awful happened, it downgrades us. Maybe the reason you're 7 or less than 7 is you're still struggling with something that's a setback in your life. People who were formerly fully functioning and have automobile accidents or are rendered paraplegic certainly bottom out on this happiness graph. Know for how long? 6 to 9 months. And then the typical person who has been met with that kind of setback settles in at around a 6.5. It's a statement of resilience. It's not the big stuff that matters, it's the little stuff. Now, this is a precious variable, this business of happiness, because we now know that happier people are more productive, they're more successful, they're more resilient. Your happiness is more likely to predict whether your children, if you have them, say they had a great childhood 40 years from now, than anything about how much you work or don't work. Happiness is a predictor of most of what matters most to us. And the great news, secondly, from research in this area, is that it's not the big stuff. Life is challenging, life is hassling. If you look at what differentiates those who thrive and those who crash, it's never about those who thrived avoided the hassles. Hassles are an inevitable part of life. It's the ratio of hassles to uplifts. The people who crash when the hassles start, they withhold the uplifts. People who thrive, people who are resilient, winners, high performers, double the uplifts during times of hassles. This is why people who have a sense of humor live longer than those who don't. This is why couples that laugh together stay together, work teams that play together are more productive. Think of who your best friend is. I'll bet you $1,000 they make you laugh. It's not the hassles, it's the uplifts. This is why people who believe in the goodness of this step in the journey, we have pride of survivorship as a family or a work team, or the goodness of their industry. Meaning is the antidote to burnout. This is why people who believe in a nurturing God are more resilient than those who don't believe in a nurturing God, and much, much more resilient than those who believe in a punitive God. If you protect yourself with the uplifts, controlling what you can even during the most uncontrollable times, you're most likely to then be able to answer the first question I asked: who are you to the ones you love and work with? In a way that will assure their resilience and yours. The primary factor that promotes the ability to bounce through difficult times and come out stronger is the ability to maintain caring connection with your fellow travelers on the journey.